Hello everyone. Welcome to this episode of Sunday Messages. And this is going to be a current magic episode. So this is the second one that I've ever done, and it's the perfect time for me to bring you another one of these episodes because there is a lot coming. I have been exploding with creativity. There are so many things that I'm putting out. And my intention for this episode is that this kind of gives you a really good directory and some dates and times and things to consider over the next few months. So I'm thinking through September. This episode in particular is going to be speaking to the things running through September. And then, of course, Apex starts again in October. So I will talk about that as well, but you're going to get a good feel for what we have coming up. So the first thing, if you are not watching me on Instagram or if you are not on my newsletter, there is a free 7-day masterclass that is still running right now at the time that I'm putting out this episode. But it is the 7 Deadly Shadows Masterclass. The replays are available on YouTube if you weren't able to attend live, depending on when you're listening to this. And if for any reason you're hearing this and you're like, oh my God, I'm listening to you right when you're dropping this episode, I want to get on the live calls, you're totally more than welcome to. The last call is going to be on the 29th of July. So if you're listening to this before then, you still have time to hop on the mailing list, and then you can get the link to the Zoom room if you do want to attend live. So the 7 deadly shadows that I have chosen for this masterclass are disconnection, scarcity, fear, condemnation, powerlessness, fragility, and codependency. There's a lot here. This is going to be a very, very meaty masterclass, and I'm really excited to put this on. And this masterclass is also very, very edgy because I am talking about all of those scary bits that people really are not comfortable vocalizing. So I'm actually going to be unpacking a lot of those gritty details. So I am really excited to bring this to you, make it available to you. And I'm going to be launching multiple things during this masterclass as well, which I'm really, really, really excited about. So the masterclass call dates are on the 19th, 20th, and 21st of July. And then we have a break over the weekend. And then it's the 25th, 27th, 28th, and 29th of July. Those are the final 4 calls that we have. So it is quite lengthy. I will make sure to include the link to the YouTube playlist for that masterclass in the show notes or description box, depending on where you're listening to this. So you'll have access, everything that I mention in this episode, you're going to have access to in the show notes. So just go there, you'll get direct links to everything. Now, this next thing, I actually left a teaser for you in the last Current Magic episode that I did back in May, because I have been holding this program in the cooker for so long, and it is finally ready. Dom is getting a sequel, but this time it is going to be sub. So it's going to be the counterpart to the Dom teaching. And this one is actually going to be a little bit different than the way I did Dom because there's going to be an additional call. So the first primary lecture that we have is going to be the same way that I did Dom. So it's probably going to be about 3 hours. Dom was about 3.5 hours. It was a very, very intense lecture. So it's going to be a long lecture for the first call. And this is really where I'm going into the energetics of what people experience as surrender. So the tagline for sub is let life bring you to climax. Because at some point you do have to relax, you do have to lean back. And my intention for this is really to bust the myth of what surrender actually is, because there's been so much poisoning around the concept of surrender. People have gotten into this idea that surrender means you surrender the desire. That is not what this is about at all. This is the energetics of basically how to relax, how to chill out, how to let yourself stop suffocating your manifestations and actually allow things in. So this is the feminine counterpart to Dom. Dom is more of you are in charge. You are the creator. You are the one who's creating the story. You are the one who's in charge of the experiences that you have going on. You are the boss. You are in charge, right? So that's the energy of Dom. Sub is the feminine counterpart to that is going to allow you to soften and open into receiving in a whole other level. So we're really getting into all of the flavors and textures of surrender and really understanding what are you even surrendering to? Because this is another thing that complicates the idea or concept of surrender. Now, there is going to be a second call, and the second call is going to be quite a vulnerable share because it is the story of my personal love life. And what I have not realized is that the past 5 years, let's say, have been deep practice in surrender around my romantic experience. And so this teaching that I'm bringing you, Sub, has actually come from a very lengthy personal experience in my romantic life. And so I actually feel called to share the details of how this has all unfolded and what has happened as a result. And it's so interesting because even though I had no clue what I was doing the entire time I was doing it, the effects and how everything has unfolded in my romantic life has truly shown me, oh, this whole thing that I've been doing was all for this. It was all for this moment where I actually learned how to surrender and what that really looks like. Now, I am keeping the calls separate, so the lecture and more of the technical stuff is going to be in the first call. The story time, more of the emotional, vulnerable share is going to be on another call, and then we are going to have a Q&A because those three things have me in a very different headspace, and so I'm separating them all, so it is going to be longer than Dom. Okay, so let's talk logistics with this because there are quite a few logistical pieces in all of this. Sub is going to be running in mid-August. Now, at the time that I'm recording this, it's mid-July, so I don't have the exact dates for you. It's a little bit too soon for me to put it down on my calendar, but right now it is going to be the middle of August. Somewhere in like the teens of August is when I'm going to be running Sub. So this program is $444. However, there is a bundle version as well. So if you want to buy Dom and Sub together, there is a bundle, and that is $5.99 for both of them packaged together. And for those of you who are already in Dom, if you're like, oh my God, I would have gotten the bundle if I knew you had the bundle. You know I always take good care of you. I have already sent you a coupon. So check your email. There's a coupon if you were in Dom. You've been sent a coupon for Sub, and you can just get in for a discounted price. So that's already available to you. If you did not, for some reason, receive that email, and it would have been from hello@onyxhealing.com. If you did not receive that email, send my team a message, hello@onyxhealing.com, and my team will be more than happy to help you out, take care of you, send you that coupon code, no big deal. Now, the coupon code, if you're already in Dom, the coupon code expires at the end of the Sub program. So on the day that I do the Q&A, that coupon will expire. Now, I am really excited to run this because last year, Dom was my most popular program. So it's the biggest program that I've ever run aside from Money Magic, but that's ongoing and that program grows. So it's a little bit different, but Dom was out of this world fantastic. So I'm really excited for this. And of course, you are welcome to get the replays, but I always encourage, if you're hearing this right now and you know that this is something that you want to do, keep in mind, when I'm running something like this, you get to ask questions when you attend the live version. But once it's done and packaged and sealed, there's no more Q&As that get added to it. So unless I have a program that I'm running multiple times or I'm doing again, it's like the Q&A is the Q&A is the Q&A, and that's it. So if you want your questions answered, if you do struggle to relax, if you do struggle with letting go, if that is something that you're like, ooh, I have a lot of juicy stuff that I want to ask Sydney about this is the place to be in the live energy for sure. And even if you can't make the live call, I always have people email their questions. I gather up all the questions and then I answer them during the Q&A. So I make sure that I'm addressing your questions directly, even if we're in other time zones or whatever it is that we have going on, or you just can't make the call. So that is the big sequel that I have been hiding from you for several months now. And all of this has just happened in perfect timing. I'm so excited for all of you who are going to be inside. And this teaching has been brewing for years. And I'm so excited to finally deliver this to you. Okay, so the other thing that is happening in mid-August is the extended payment plan for Apex is coming to an end. So if you need smaller payments spread out over a longer period of time, the final day to do that is going to be August 15th. So for those of you who are not familiar, Apex is a 2-month intensive with me. So I did a whole other podcast episode dedicated to all of the nitty-gritty details about Apex. You're welcome to go listen to that. It is a wildly impactful program. Shockingly impactful. I was blown away by what happened with this most recent round. I mean, people were manifesting new homes. One of the women inside actually moved during the program. She moved into like a dream apartment with a waterfront view within a month. It was shocking. There was a home that was manifested through an inheritance. Just crazy stuff happening, new business being born, clients being manifested. Another one of the ladies in there opened up 10 spots in her personal practice. All of them got snatched up. She like completely sold out all of her sessions. Just freaking magic. So someone asked me recently on a Q&A when the last day to apply to Apex will be. And so here's how it works. There's limited seats because it's an intensive and we do live calls and there's a Voxer room. So the doors close either when it's full. So if it sells out, it sells out. There's limited seats and that's it. No more. Or the doors stay open until September 30th. I definitely don't recommend jumping in on September 30th because the protocol starts on October 1st. There is a really firm cutoff date for it because you go into a consumption fast. So there is some prep work that we do, and I do a preparation call even if not everyone is inside the container. So those are all of the details for Apex. And I strongly recommend, if you do want that payment plan, get on the application now because you have to secure your seat by the 15th. Otherwise, the payment option, the extended payment option, is getting deleted as of August 15th. So just keep that in mind as well. It's better to apply sooner rather than later. So one thing that I want to tease you with right now, just a little taste of something that I have upcoming. I have had a sexy class in the incubation chamber for a while. And I can already tell that with what's happening in my life, the questions that I've been getting asked lately, just all the things that are coming together, a sexy class is coming. I don't know when, but it will be coming soon. And that's all I'm going to say about it for now. So If you are interested in that, I've had a lot of people get excited about it when I've brought it up. So just make sure you stay tuned for that because more is coming. Okay, so I have one more thing that I want to announce. And I mentioned this in the masterclass. If you've already been in the 7 Deadly Shadows, you already know about this. I have a brand new short-term mastermind that is going to be starting in September. And this one is called Animus. And if I'm being totally honest, I feel like this is actually what people have wanted from me for the longest. So I just want to remind all of you, I have been listening. I have been paying attention to what you have been wanting. And the requests that I hear the most often pretty much fall into the same camp. It's radically being yourself. It's unwavering confidence, having enough power and intensity behind boundaries that you're respected, but not so much that you're actually damaging your relationships. It's no longer operating from a place of obligation and actually operating from a place of truth. And all of these aspects that people keep asking me about come back to the same exact root. And that is being really up close, nice and cozy with your shadow. Here's the problem. If you deny the dark desires that you have within you, they will run you. There are 2 ways that people get shadow to grow. One is through ignoring it. So if you turn a blind eye to it and you leave it in the dark, it's going to start getting out of control. So this is where people really start caving to obligation and doing things that they don't want to do because they're unwilling to look at the shadow. If you don't look in that direction, your shadow is not going to communicate with you in the same way that if you bring it out into the light. Because there's wisdom in the shadow, there's utility in the shadow, there is a purpose for things like intensity and your dark desires. When you don't understand how they're communicating and what they're telling you, it just makes a mess. So that's when you get the problems with operating from a place of misalignment, falling under the spell of obligation and what other people want you to do, people pleasing up the wazoo, filling your body with resentment, shutting down during conflict. It just makes an absolute mess. And the interesting thing is that I find that people are so afraid of their shadow that, of course, it grows because fear will grow it. If you're afraid of your dark desires, you're toast. There is this huge part of you that wants to communicate with you. It wants to be integrated. It wants to work with you. It is designed to support you. There is a very good reason why you have a shadow self, and there's a very important purpose why you are connected to the collective shadow. This is not something that you can scrub away. So in order to get full power and full control over it, you have to get cozy with it. What I have come to find over the years is that the thing that makes me most secure and the most stable and the most unshakable and that allows me to have the most integrity possible, and it actually keeps me the safest for the people who are around me, is my comfort with my own shadow. If you're uncomfortable with your shadow, it's going to run you. If you're afraid of your shadow, it's going to run you. If you turn a blind eye to the dark desires it's trying to communicate to you, it is going to get its way whether you like it or not. This is a matter of, is it going to be constructive or destructive? Is it going to help you or harm you? Is it going to allow for a creative solution, or is it going to lead to self-sabotage? Those end up being the choices. And so what happens for people, they have a shadow because everyone's got one, but they're so afraid of being labeled a bad person that they internalize all of this emotional trash. And that's when you get the festering, the internal festering of resentment, rage, avoidance, fear. You get all of this garbage clogged up in your system because there's a huge disconnect between you and your shadow, and that's not going to work. If you leave it in the dark, it will fester. If you do not acknowledge the dark parts of yourself, they will fester, they will grow, and they will take the wheel quickly without you even recognizing it. So if I'm able to clearly know my shadow, understand it, befriend it, and then be able to organize myself in a way where that is brought into the fold of my human experience, and I get to communicate in an effective way with other people, now I'm safe. Now I'm secure. And the ironic thing about all of this is that there are so many people who are afraid of being viewed as a bad person. Yet at the same time, if you look at me and you're like, there is something about her energy, her magnetism, her confidence, her intensity, her whatever, it's because I embrace the very thing that you're afraid of. This is what cracks me up, is like, you love that I'm kind of bad. You love that I'm kind of a villain. You love that I'm willing to be the bad guy. You love that about me. You know you do. I hear you guys all the time, and you're all saying the same thing. You're saying, Sydney, we love that you are willing to be bad. And so this is why I said, you know what? This is the missing piece for people. The missing piece is you don't know how to be bad and feel good while you're being bad, while you're misbehaving, while you're integrating these, let's say, villainous parts of you. I cannot describe to you the importance of understanding your dark desires because there is massive amounts of wisdom and information that lives within them. And they can become somewhat of a threat if you turn away. So if you're unwilling to see them, they'll snatch the wheel from you. You'll be out of control in no time, and they will find a way to seep through until they get attention. Okay, anyway, let me abruptly shift this into more of the logistics because I could sit and talk about all of this stuff for hours, and I don't want to turn this into a 3-hour podcast. So here's the deal. It's a mini mastermind, a micro mind, a mini mind, a short-term mastermind, whatever you want to call it. And I am going to be taking you through different archetypes. So it's all shadow archetypes that we're going to be playing with, exploring, and just getting you nice and cozy with these parts of yourself so that you can understand them, work with them, bring them into the fold of your life and start actually using them. Your shadow is for you. It is meant for you. It is designed for you. And my God, you should feel good when you're working with it. My goal here is for the pleasure to be dominant and for this to alchemize the fear. So you stop turning away from the shadow, but instead you can start working with it and extracting pleasure with it so that you can keep it on a leash. So, as always with masterminds, there is an application that you want to fill out for this. Once again, we start in September. There will be more details to come. I'm going to be sharing the archetypes that we're going to be going over. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's more details to come, and I'm really excited to offer this because I feel like I'm the right woman for the job. You know what I mean? I'm the right person to be doing this. So that is all for today. And of course, everything is in the show notes, the description box, all of that good stuff. And that is a wrap for today. I'm really excited for all of the things that are coming up. So I will see you on the internet. I will talk to you in the next episode. And as always, if you have any questions about any of this, email hello@onyxhealing.com. You can hit me up on Instagram. And I will talk to you so soon. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.